Good morning, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel, We Are Quilters. Today, in episode 32 of the Appliqué series, we are going to do light box basting. Now, I have enjoyed basting using other methods and applique using other methods, but I think this is my all-time favorite. And I don't see this in a lot of books. I saw it mentioned and thought, this is the craziest idea ever, but I'll try it. And I love it. It's on the prep work, just like all other applique. So today's episode will be filmed at 2 different times because part of this process you need to wait. And I'll explain that as I go. But today I need to add the flowers to the part I already have done with all the leaves and vines. So let's get to it with the light box. On all the other versions of applique, we worked from the top down and we put the template behind it. Well, I have carefully lined up the template so I can see that the center is pretty close to the center, and the pressing lines are there. I think next time I will do thread so I know that it's pretty much lined up, but I don't want to work with this on the top. I want to reverse the layers. And then I'm going to flip it over after I do a little pinning. So I can see that it lines up. And applique, I see that I move these leaves a little bit. So it'll be all right. It'll be good. But I need the center to be fairly in the center. And these leaves need to line up most of the way. So let me get some pins. And I will show you what I will do. You're thinking, how in the world is this going to work? I will show you. Trust me on this one. And once you see this, you will be going, wow. I can get it through the plastic. So my gold lines up fairly well. My flower lines up fairly well. And I just need it stabilized outside of where I am going to put those flowers so that I can baste. Because it's all in the prep work. That's what I keep saying. It's all in the prep work and it's hand sewing. Need 2 more little pins here to get it all fastened down. And then I will show you. And I know it's shifted a little. I'm okay with that. It's all right. I made up the pattern from suggestions. So now I'm going to flip it over. And I can still see, now that it's flipped over and I'm on the back of my piece, I can see the flowers. And I think I'm going to start with one in the corner because it's easier for you to see. Let me pull the camera over a little. And I can see that this one is this flower. Now I can choose to, since I have a template, I might as well use it to my advantage. I can choose to use this inside shape, or I could pull out the outside shape. It doesn't really matter. If I want the flower to be a little bigger, I'll use this shape. If I want it to be a little smaller, I'll use this shape. So I think for these exterior flowers, I'm going to use this one to make it just a little easier, a little smaller and tighter since it's near the seam allowance. So I'm going to lay it on there, and I am using a Ticonderoga number 2 pencil. You can use whatever marking method you want. You're on the back. So this is actually your basting line. I said it. This is your basting line. So if you like to mark in pen, that's fine. If you like to mark in pencil, that's fine too. I make sure I cover my stem. going to mark the center also, because that will help me out when I go to put the real shape on there. So you can see the shape is, it's an eighth of an inch, an eighth of an inch in, because I'm using that inside of the template. So I'm going to trace all those flowers. Let me put it on speed, and I'll do that very quickly. And then I will tell you about the actual basting. Okay, for the middle one, I am going to use the Mylar template because I can see through it with the light box. And I can see that the target is there. So I need to pull it over just a little. I'm going to use the target lines to line up with the notches on the flower. And I'm going to trace around the Mylar template. Now, if there was more than one of these, I would not switch to the outside line, but I want to cover all these leaves. So I can go with the slightly bigger version. Oop, it slipped. Back to those lines. And I will show you after I get all my lines drawn on. That's the only, you need to be careful that you get all your lines. Okay, all the lines of the flower are on, and my center is in the center of the circle. Okay, let me take out some pins and show you what I've got. Flip it over, remove pins. Like I said, the pattern didn't line up perfectly. It is a guideline. It is like every recipe in my life, or every pattern in my life. It is a guideline. And I can change things if I want. You can't see much from the front. You can see it slightly better from the back. So the next step, I'm going to move my crinkly template out of the way. The next step is to put the fabric. So I'm putting my center down, and then I am going to put my center in the circle on the middle of the flower. And I'm going to do a little bit of pinning. You know how I don't really care for pinning, but to keep it on there while I get all of these centered. This is how I'm going to do it. You could do this with safety pins, I suppose. That would work. But I'm going to do it with big old quilting pins. So there you go. There's one. And the opposite one is also a pink one. So I put it down. See, so far this is very easy. Very easy. And I line it up. And all I have to worry about is being precise with that center. I don't have to worry about being precise with anything else at the moment. I think you'll love this method once you see the rest of it, because it combines all the wonderful things of needle turn and basting into one method. The other two are, oh, I bumped the light. That little switch is so touchy. So touchy. Okay, I've got the purple. Need to put it with the center down. Same thing. why I chose 4.5-inch blocks, things I already had cut. That was fantastic to find, fortuitous to find those in the scrap bin. And last but not least, the very center. It's got flowers on it too. Oh, but the center, I need to get the center in the right spot. And flatten that down. And I see that my lines are well within the purple of the fabric. And I'm going to pin that also. I'm going to pin this one a little better because it's a bigger shape. And I don't want it shifting a whole bunch. Put a pin through the middle of that one since it's such a big shape. Okay. I'll be back in just a moment to show you what we're going to do with this. Now remember, we're on the back side and you are seeing the back side of this. I think I will work on one of these penguins for you in just a moment. For this application, I am choosing something that's not too dark. I don't want a black because I have white background and light pink, but I want something obnoxious. So I found a spool of orange, and I'm going to use it. Doesn't have to be something, and for this application, I am using a needle with a fairly large eye to baste. And a larger eye needle, not huge, but a larger eye needle helps this work out. And I am using 2 strands of thread. And I am cutting the typical Lazy Man's thread. You know, 18 inches or longer. Lazy Man's thread, as my grandma called it. And I said grandma, not grandma, grandma. And this is what I'm going to do. I am following my pencil lines exactly. And I am basting on the pencil lines. And these can be fairly small stitches, or they can be bigger stitches. It's up to you. Small is better. I read somewhere, wherever I saw this technique, they said small is better. And I had some odd colors of the heavy hand quilting thread, and that worked really well. It where I read this technique, it recommended you let it sit for 24 hours so that the holes sort of train the fabric and it makes it easier to flip. So I am going to go baste, and I will see you back here in a couple of days so I can show you the rest of this technique. Talk to you then. Here is one flower all basted down right on the line. I'm going to snip my thread and finish basting all of the flowers, and then I'll be back in 24 hours or so to show you the rest. From the top of the piece, you can see that all of the pieces have been basted down. Now it's just a matter of waiting. It took about an hour and 15 minutes or so to baste these all down with nice small stitches, or fairly small stitches. And we'll come back to this in a little bit. Welcome back. It's been about 24 hours, and it's rather warm here in my sewing room, and I don't even have the iron plugged in to heat it up more. The heat is turned off, but the sun hitting the big roof in the big room, well, it's rather warm. So let me show you how to do this applique with the basting that we did yesterday. And let's get started.
When I'm traveling with a project, I love to put it in a plastic bag. That keeps it safe and dry and clean. If I put it in another bag, I'll never see it and I'll forget about it. So I have it folded up and I have my little travel case. I love these pencil cases that you can buy on sale at Walmart or Dollar Tree to carry the bare essentials. So let me open this up so we can see it. I think I'm going to start with a corner flower, maybe a purple one, because it's easiest to see the purple. Let me center that on the camera. Let me get a pair of scissors. I'm going to trim it closer. When I go to applique it, I'm going to trim it very close to 1/8 of an inch. Very small and fine, because as someone pointed out, I'm letting a pretty big seam allowance, and I have been, so that you can see it on the camera and it's easier for me to handle, but I can get closer as I've been at this game for a little while. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like anything else, practice, practice, practice. So there I have at least trimmed it out to a better shape. And now as I'm getting ready to sew, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start on I'm not going to start in a notch. I'm going to start in the middle toward the top. And I'm just going to trim 1 inch or 2 away. I'm not going to trim the whole way out. I'm not going to remove a whole bunch of stitches. I'm just going to work a little section at a time. I'm going to trim, and I am going to trim down. I'm going to slit to that notch. And this is needle turn. It's just a different form of needle turn. Again, I'm trimming down to that notch. I'm going to trim out 2 petals. I'm just going to discard that. Now, I'm going to snip this thread first, and I'm going to take out probably 4 of the stitches. Now you can cut that off if you want. I'm going to, just so it's out of my way right now. And just like other needle turn, maybe I shouldn't have started with this purple, because you can't see I don't know if you can see the holes or not. They're right there. So I can flip it so I can just see the holes. And I will tell you, you're matching your applique shape. One of my viewers, Diana, I believe it was, she said so that her thread color matches perfectly, she uses 1 strand of embroidery floss thread for each of her stitches. And she sent me pictures of the most beautiful applique quilt. So there it is. And it's just so now. I'm almost to that set of stitches. I'm going to clip, and I use my sharp little scissors. And I get in there to that stitch, and I pick out the 2 or 3 stitches, pull out the threads, continue with the needle turn. And because you've already poked holes in it with the double layers of thread when you basted, it kind of has an idea where to go. And it's easy to turn because it has that idea already. So if you like needle turn applique, this is even easier than dealing with the paper that gives you grief, for making sure the pen marks are turned in, because you don't have anything you have to hide or fight with. And like always, when you get down to the corner, I'm going to make sure that's tucked in there. Use my needle. And you don't have to be too gentle, but you don't want to fiddle with indents too much, because you don't want it to fray. Because you don't want to cut it off, because that's bad. It'll fray more. And I always take, anytime there's a point or a dent, I take an extra little stitch before continuing on my way. I'm going to use my needle to poke that in. And I'm pretty sure I should take the next 2 or 3 or 4 stitches, whatever you feel comfortable with. It's always good to have like sticky something to put all those little threads on. And there I can see the little holes that were made. You might not be able to see those on camera, because I did choose a background that has dots. Maybe not the best background for this project to share with you. I don't know. I like it. And you can kind of feel the hole if you're going back down through the same hole. And there it is. I'm going to stop after this little bit. I'll work on this in a while on my own. And next time you see this, the flowers will be done. But that's all there is to it. Even easier. Isn't that a mind blower? For those of you who like the freezer paper applique, no freezer paper. You're working from the back, you're drawing a pencil line to do your basting. So you're only basting once. I think this method is a winner. Try it. See if you like it. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you later. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See ya on Wednesday.